This is called catastrophe avoidance. Catastrophe avoidance. And what does that mean? That basically means not getting f***ed up badly. There's two main ways of doing that. Way number one is you put in a lot of hours. You train hard. You know what you want. You generate momentum, okay? You fight off the cold of life. You keep that ball of heat in your hands. You roll it, you snowball it till it gets bigger and bigger, till you have momentum. Okay, you figure out a way to carve out a living for yourself, to carve out some sort of sliver of existence for yourself. You do all the right things, okay? And way number two is catastrophe avoidance. All right? Cue me slamming into a car. Turns out the driver of that car is a pregnant woman. She miscarries because I hit the back of her car. I get sued. I lose everything. I'm fucked. The next 3 years of my life is in court. I think young people who are into self-improvement, young people who are into, the greats, Joe, goes without saying, Rogan, all right, for those of you who are just getting into self-improvement type stuff, Jordan B. Peterson, myself, the greats. If you're watching this, you probably have some idea about way number one. You probably have some, notion that you have to work hard, you have to hone a craft, you have to work on something for 10 years for it to become an overnight success, etc. Okay, and I would also give a very unironic recommendation to read Scott Adams' book, The Orange One. Forgot the title. Very good read. Oh, what's he reading? Self-improvement stuff? Yeah, because some of it's good. What are the other options? Read self-unimprovement? Everything in your life is tied together, and there's sort of a mental trick that happens because you don't see everything right away. You don't see that if you f*** something up now, you won't see the connection that a half a year from now or a year from now, some other piece or element in your life is out of whack because of this thing that happened 6 months ago. You usually don't see that. This audio guy got in a fight with his dad, got kicked out, couldn't use his computer to get the files on the thing. Which, listen, I understand, okay? Sometimes you have to duke it out with your dad. But catastrophe avoidance is like the art of maintaining a tranquil baseline as you go throughout life. There are going to be enough external sources of mayhem. There's going to be enough bad shit happening to you that you really do not need to go out of your way to introduce new peaks and valleys to this tranquil, emotional, stable baseline that you should maintain. You really don't need to drive to show off or be a speed demon, okay? Because first of all, if you haven't done karting, if you haven't done some sort of thing that gives you track time, you're not a good driver anyway. Like you might impress your dumb girlfriend, you might impress your friends who are and they're not going to be your friends in 5 years anyway, okay? But you're not a good driver. Okay, and if you were a good driver, if you'd done a significant amount of karting, or if you had a lot of seat time behind on an actual racetrack, then you probably wouldn't feel the desire to drive like a maniac on the streets anyway. That's the number one immediate fast your life up fast. How'd you up so good? Really? How'd you do that? How'd you up good? How'd you do that? There's a kid in my high school. He tried to get air. Know what happened to him? He died. Oh no, he didn't die. He killed his friend. He lived though. He's probably having a good life now. Oh my God. Yeah, you know what, dude? We're in my dad's Chevy Blazer. I'm gonna get air, bro. You trust me, right? I'm a good driver, right? But that's really the way that young people, young men, change their lives in an instant, is in the car. You should drive like a granny, okay? And if you have the need for speed, go do karting. Introducing friction into personal relationships when it's not really necessary. But my mom has always been like, she's always been sort of like a severe worrier. So what I learned to do, probably starting in high school, was just to lie to her. Anytime she would ask me if I did anything, I would just, instead of getting in an argument, raising her blood pressure and like making this big situation where it's like, no, what do you mean? I don't have to do that, because no, I'm 18. What are you talking about? I don't want to do that. I say, I did it. Time is short, all right? Your parents aren't going to be around forever. Why, butt heads with them at every opportunity? Just lie to them. Just tell them you're going to do it. You don't have to do it. That's a good one. That only works if your parents are totally oblivious. If they live in the kingdom of oblivion, then you can sort of pull the wool over their eyes like that. It's real easy as a young guy to go off the handle and say some shit that is not conducive to you having the best future outcomes. Because if people don't like you, if they think you're a know-it-all, if they think you're some guy that's always correcting them or thinking of a new argument or whatever, you have to be likable. One thing called little murders. Little murders are they're things that you say in a relationship with someone they're very small. Okay, it's like, oh, I see you didn't do the dishes. They're really small, but they're the type of things that will sit with someone for days, for weeks, for months. Like, that person will remember the time that you said something like very slight, like a slight little zinger, like things like that. Those are called little murders. Look up little murders in quotes, and then don't do that. And you don't want to, you want to like, you don't want to be this type of person that's like taking a stand when it doesn't matter. Like, just be very conscious of when the outcomes of conversations either matter or don't matter. They usually don't matter, and what that usually means is the best thing to do is don't disagree with someone to the point that it becomes like a contest between you. Like, I had to do an awful lot of this early on with Nick, because Nick is like very finely attuned to people's social reaction. And when we first started working together 10 years ago, I was like an only child, very typical only child, know-it-all, like sort of domineering, like my conversation style was like sandpaper. And I think selling cars is a good thing to do for like 6 months to a year. I think if you sell cars for 6 months and you just get used to talking to people in a setting where the outcome of the conversation makes a material difference, a very clear material difference to you, because I think you'll be paying more attention to when you're saying dumb know-it-all shit, like, what do you mean you don't want the V6? It's way better. You don't want this, trust me. Like, just, it's a good thing. Selling cars is a good thing. But I don't think people are aware of how severe the negative consequences are if you choose to do the wrong thing when it comes to college. That's like second to getting in a vicious car accident, spending $250,000 and 4 years of your life doing the wrong thing is a major, major catastrophe that will set you on the course for real damnation. For a lot of people who are smart, okay, you're so gifted, you're a precocious guy, you're so smart. For a lot of people who have this complex where they feel like they're above everyone else, which I had and probably still do have to some degree, every person now has that. That's just the byproduct of social media, is you think you're like a celebrity. And one thing that guys like us tend to do, or are in danger of doing, is just saying some shit that would make someone never like you again. That happens a lot.